Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In today's video we have something very exciting. It's going to be a showcase of Ludovic prolonging the ultimate duration of TALENE to allow her to get off her maximal damage, and Ludovic himself also contributes a really high amount of damage, especially in the King Kroaker boss. Now as of right now we have had Ludovic in the game for about a week. And in a lot of the top Dream Realm boss comps, he is not one of the best options, but definitely in the King Kroaker boss, he does phenomenally. And I think part of the reason is that he's going to prolong the life of TALENE and get off even more damage. And also in this comp, as you can see, you're also running Smokey too. So you're not going to be passing up on Smokey. And I don't think like replacing Smokey for Ludovic usually is going to be a good option in Dream Realm, because Smokey provides too much with his attack and haste buff and also the damage output that he has. And we have shown many King Kroaker teams in the past. They all centered around having Friesto and TALENE as the main sources of the damage, and here Ludovic is also contributing more damage than even the Friesto. So without further ado, we're going to watch the replay in 1x speed and check it out. Okay, so we have the Friestos walking to the front. No Rainier Mythic Plus in this team, which is pretty interesting. Although before Ludovic was here, Rainier at Mythic Plus was the hero used in place of him. So the thing about Ludovic is he has one of the greatest healing in a fixed duration around his Ever Bloom field, but it is going to be limited by how far it can reach. So when you have multiple melee units like here and TALENE is up in melee range, all of them are getting the value from this healing, and it is massive healing and incredible sustain. And as you can tell, TALENE still has not broken her ultimate cast, and I think throughout this entire fight there will be no break in her ultimate cast just because of how much sustain there is on this team. But it is a double healer comp. Of course we have Ludovic as well as the Smokey. But really what surprised me the most about this comp, and based on the skills of Ludovic, I was not expecting him to contribute around 12 billion damage. When Smokey only contributes around 6 billion damage in most Dream Realm boss fights and also in King Kroaker. So with this team, our Guildmate Splash managed to get almost 50 billion damage, which is absolutely insane, because the team not involving TALENE, Friesto, and Ludovic, for example, which is the team that I usually run, it is very difficult to even get over 38 billion damage. So yeah, but definitely it does require a lot of the light of the Celestial Hypogeans built up. So TALENE right there did break her ultimate cast. One of the water bombs from the King Kroaker boss did manage to kill her, and that is what is going to happen. The bombs deal a lot of damage, and even with the full sustain and full health, sometimes it will just nuke like it is doing right now and repeatedly nuke the TALENE. So towards the end, her damage output is going to wither, sort of, but Ludovic still is dealing that consistent damage. So overall, I want to give sort of an update on the situation of Ludovic, because when he first came out, I mentioned that because we have such a long duration on his rate up recruitment, it would probably be better to wait and see how other people use him and how effective he is in the different areas, and then decide to recruit him or not. So if we take a look just briefly at the Dream Realm, I think this is going to be a good place to start. And look at all the bosses with the top lineups and see Ludovic is not really going to be a part of any apart from the King Kroaker boss. Definitely not Necrodraken, where you need the energy. The energy is basically denied from you and you're casting. So even in Snow Stomper, he's not really used. But King Kroaker, he is part of the top damage team comp. So overall, if I had to rate his Dream Realm use, it is pretty good, but it is not outstanding. And even in the team, the King Kroaker team, he's mainly there to keep the TALENE alive for longer. But if we look at his skills, because I want to see how did he contribute that 12 billion damage, and that we can only reveal from the skills that he has, which he is right over here.
These flowers
okay, so his skill 1 is just going to be mainly healing, and that is not going to be any form of damage. But this one is going to be pretty massive damage. It's only on an 8-second cooldown, and it is the Everbloom field will absorb 15% health of their maximum HP. Whenever a non-summon enemy on the battlefield loses 40% of their health. And because in this fight, the bombs keep taking you below 40% health, you heal back up, you keep getting this triggered. And this is kind of like a passive effect. So I don't even think this has a cooldown. And the Everbloom will absorb 15% of their max HP. Obviously, this is not going to be on an endless boss mode. They have unlimited HP. So it will be capped, but 350% of his attack each time one of his non-summon allies takes 40% health. That is a really big damage contribution, especially in boss fights. And that is why, like, him and Smokey together, they keep sustaining the team, and then the water bombs keep taking you below 40% of their HP, and then he just deals this burst of live weaver blooms. In the active form, it also has damage per second, but honestly not too amazing. Like, only 55 at maximum for 4 seconds is only around 220%, and 350% is coming each time one of your non-summon allies drops 40% health. So I think this is a major source of his damage. Ethereal Blooms is just going to be a healing amount, and this is just going to help usually probably the Talene survive for longer and keep casting her ultimate for a duration. And then healing for 14 during battle. His healing will increase by an extra 4 when the Everbloom field accumulates a healing amount. And this is just his healing effectiveness. Again, this is going to be better for keeping Talene alive, but that's the main use in this King Kroaker Dream Realm boss. And then finally his Mythic Plus. Well, not finally, we have Supreme Plus, but Mythic Plus is one of his major things. This will deal, but it is an AoE damage source. So in bosses, AoE damage usually is not the best, because the value you get from it is when like the 5 enemies all taking the damage, but here only one boss is going to be taking it, 120%, so not a major source of damage. It's all really coming from his first skill, Live Weaver's Blooms. And then his Supreme Plus, whenever an enemy steps into this, is a stun and damage, although I don't think the boss will trigger this because the boss doesn't move around. I'm not sure if it triggers, but it would only anyway be 120% attack. Now his seasonal skill is also pretty effective, because it will increase the attack and haste for the ally who has dealt the most damage, and it is Talene in this comp. So it's increasing the attack and haste of Talene to allow her to contribute a little bit more damage and get some more of her skills, because when you have higher haste, you have a lower cooldown on your active skills, so Talene would contribute a little bit more damage from that, but mainly is the attack buff for ultimate damage. So overall, in terms of the King Kroaker boss, Ludovic is one of the best options, but as we could see from the other Dream Realm bosses, he is not the greatest. And I think it's just because so many heroes on your team are repeatedly taking massive damage from the water bomb, which is triggering his massive damage from his Live Weaver Blooms. But in other bosses, I guess there's more single target. Skyclops seems like it would be a potential for him, but when we look at the top teams, they're all involving Scarlita instead of the Ludovic potential slot. And I think it's also that Ludovic does really well with Talene in particular. But maybe Splash next time on Skyclops could test it with Ludovic and maybe Talene. I don't know. But from my experience so far in the game, King Kroaker is where Ludovic shines and is the best hero option if you have Talene as well. But for the other Dream Realm bosses, he is not really the top tier. That is my experience so far. So overall, do I recommend recruiting Ludovic now? I think overall he is a very solid hero. I don't think he's a bad hero, and I'm not sure if I am going to recruit him. And if you recruited him, definitely, even like I said in my video when I said don't recruit Ludovic, at least not yet, I said he probably is going to be a top tier hero. I said most likely end of S+ tier, and he is a really solid healer. The issue in PvP is that his bloom, or his field of his bloom, has a little bit of a limited range, and if it's not getting the value onto your team, then that is unfortunate, and he loses a lot of his effectiveness. But overall, he seems to be very solid in PvP, in stall type comps, and as a good solid Graveborn healer. So I can definitely I can see why you would want to recruit for him. But what I am going to do is, because we always get like a skill preview of the upcoming rate up limited hero before this current limited will end, and I think the remaining ones will be mainly only S level heroes, because I think we still have to have 2 or 3 more entering the game, and already Ludovic is going to be entering the game in this new season. The new season only lasts until 10th September, and Ludovic is going to be running until I think early August. So there's not going to be much more time left. I think maybe 2 more S level heroes might come out. I'm not sure. But I want to take a look at the upcoming skill description of a hero. If that hero also doesn't seem too amazing, then maybe I will go for Ludovic. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I just wanted to update you because this is a really cool team and it shows Ludovic to his kind of full potential. And once again, thank you to Splash for sharing that replay with us so we could watch it. But let me know what you guys think about Ludovic. If you have recruited for him, where are you using him, how are you liking him, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next video. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe because we upload daily AFK journey videos. But until the next video, everyone, peace out for now and thank you for watching.